So this is your very own Saba here speaking from the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. And we're going to get a different view here today from the SIDUR RASHASH, because the SIDUR RASHASH that we were using originally, the Brachot NAHAR, is actually a Sephardi SIDUR. So what we have here is the SIDUR RASHASH, but this is Nusach Sefard It, NEKUDOT HAKESEF. So most people who would listen to this shir are probably Ashkenaz, but in Eretz Yisrael, they also use Nusach Sefard. So Nusach Sefard is very, very similar to Nusach the Sephardi, but they are different in terms of the actual, let's say, the roots of what we want to get at. They don't disagree. It's. I don't think they do. But what we're going to do is that since I'm pretty much an outsider to what's going on, I want to explore it, and I'm inviting you to explore this with me. Now, let me see if I can open this up and get the name of the person who did this. So this is the opening page, and it says that this is a SIDUR RASHASH, B'siyata D'Shmai, he writes. NEKUDOT HAKESEF, but it's not Brachot NAHAR, it's a different one. It's NEKUDOT HAKESEF, and NEKUDOT HAKESEF goes from the standpoint of it's a Chassidish, or it's the Ashkenaz for Eretz Yisrael. So then he said Tefillos for Shachris, the whole Mosef and Rosh Chodesh. This sefer that we have here is a nice big sefer, SIDUR HaNidfas, and this is according to the SIDUR, the published SIDUR. And I don't know which, when they said the Nidfas could be according to the Rashash, but also this is you'll see as we begin it, it's going to be different than the Sephardi at its beginning. So he's the least of everybody. It is the smallest person in the world. Is Yecheskel Bing. This is Rabbi Yecheskel Bing. This is the Rav, the Dayan, I don't know, Beis HaMidrash, V'yeshivas and Mekubalim, Devri Shalom, Shnas. This is like 2 years ago. Po B'nai Brak, here in B'nai Brak. Now, we're going to turn right away, so we have to the beginning of this sefer. The beginning of the sefer begins differently than what we said had in the Sephardim. Now the differences are really in the traditions of what prayers are said when. But when we go to the basic prayers, I think we're going to see that they're really the same. When that is when they are quoting the Rashash himself. So this is the way this is laid out. Start with Moda Ani. And then after that, we have this statement that let's read it to get a little flavor of where they're going. And we're going to go a little bit until we get to the Akedah of Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak Avinu. And we'll try to match up what they have. This one has what the other one doesn't, and the other one has what this one doesn't. Let's see how it goes. It says, Abraham Makabe, and this is my Kavanah Me'ata. I'll call prat to prat, all the details, the masai from the things I do, the dibura and things I say, the machshavosai and the things I think. Shall call hayom the whole day long, all the way ad machar be'es hazo. So whatever it is we are trying to accomplish at this point, he says that this is the last 24 hours. Be'es hazo, the shem yichud kudsha berichu v'shkinte, b'shem kol Yisrael. This is the reason why we want to make a yichud. V'lhachriya es atzmei, and also to tilt myself, v'es kol b'nei Yisrael, and all the Jewish people, v'es kol ha'olam l'kaf sachos, to the side of merit. V'hareini mekavim ma'ata ad l'machar. So now he says the same thing again. He said that is Kavanah until tomorrow, be'ez hazos, at this time. B'kol pam she'azker shem havai, that every time I say the name Yudke Vavke HaKodesh, shul b'ksivaso. What it actually is, if you wrote it out, is Hoya Hova V'Yihya, but we call it Adni. Shuhu Adon Akol, which means that this name is the master of everything. Asker Shem Elokim, Shuhu Taki V'Baldacho Yecholas, so that the name Elokim, when we say that name in Kabbalah, it means din. But let's see how he says Shuhu Takiv, which is strong. Ubal Yecholis, and has all the energy to be able to do anything. Ubal Kochos, and he has all different kinds of powers. Kulam Ilus ala Ilus. All of them ultimate causes, the cause of causes. Sivos are called Sivos. The Shalit are called Olomos, and in control of all the worlds. He's talking about these names now. Now this is the way this goes. I need to get a drink. Now something that is really different from what you would find in normal, we daven Ashkenaz here in the United States, the Litvish do. So it's a different siddur, and it's what you call pithy. In other words, it's like a bare bones siddur. Start at the beginning and go through. That's what it does. Over here, though, we're going to start examining. The first thing is kavanas mea brachos. So we'll start with this. Zochabaklalos mea brachos. So we talk, we're supposed to make 100 blessings a day. And you see that if you go to a Sephardi synagogue, and possibly also a Hasidic one, you're going to see that they're going to have some plants there, so you can make a besamim. They want you to multiply the number of times of brachos to get to 100 brachos every day. So he says, Yekavin lahamshech mochin mehabrecha el yonda dezer anpin. So he says that there's something called a brook, a stream, what would you say, a spa, a spring. Mahabrecha el Yonah the Zeranpin, the upper stream down to Zeranpin. This is what you want to do. You want to stream down the mochim hamislavshin b'nai de ima that are clothed inside the netzachod yesod of ima. Umispashtim vav spheros the Zeranpin, and they spread into the 6 spheros of Zeranpin, which would those would be the top spheros, which would be Kesach, but being the Das, Kachbad, Hug, which is Chesed and Gevurah. So they spread down there. Then he says, now remember, this is the Mea Brachos. So he said, Va'od mispasha the Taras Yesod de Ima. So now there's an extension of the Yesod of Ima, which is called the Ataras Yesod de Ima. Ima enters into the head, and then there's an Atar, there's an extension, Bishlish Elyon to Tiferes de Zer Anpin. It goes all the way down to the Yesod of Ima normally would be in the neck area, let's say, so to speak, of Zer Anpin. But it has an extension that goes down to his chest. Which is the Shlish Elyon to Tiferes the Zer Anpin. For kol sphera kolula miyud, every sphera has within it 10 spheros, which we've talked about before, the concept of a partzuf. She'ola b'gematria sag. It comes to the gematria of 63, and I'm sure that I really don't understand that 100%. Let's see how we got to that. Yud K Vav K, and that's what sag looks like, with the Vav spelled like this. Ba'ad kan ha'oros stumim, and unto this point, where they're inside of the chest of Zer Anpin, that's as far as it gets, they're closed up there. So he says this is the name Sag. Now, what I didn't understand was, he says, Va'od ha'teferes ataras yesod de'ima, v'shlish elyon to teferes dezah, that it's in the upper third of the teferes dezah. So this mashma that the teferes dezah has 10 spheros. And the upper 3 of them would be 3. Of a call Sphera Kolula B'Yud, Shol B'Gematria Samach, and Gimel, 63. So he said, what's the 3 again? He says it's the upper third of the spheres of Tiferes, combined with the 6 spheres themselves of Zer Anpin times 10, it gets you 63. So va'od yekavin lahamshika oras begilui. Now the idea is like this: it was closed up inside of the chest of Zer Anpin, but now the yesod is going to open up. Va'od yekavin lahamshika oras begilui, amispashtin bebei shlishi teferes of manai. So then you're going to open it up. So in other words, the shefa that was inside of the yesod of Ima is now going to become revealed. It's going to open up. begilui mispashta bebe shlishi, and it spreads into the lower 2/3 of Tiferes. Ubenai, the Zer Anpin, and also goes all the way down to the 9 Netzachot, that's part of the lower 2/3 of Zer Anpin, Shemis Param Line Lamed Zayin. Kemisper Milui Sag Velamed Zayin Begatria Meya. Now let's go back and just try to see what did I miss here. He said Va'od Yekavi Lahamsha Ka'oros Begilui. So we said that at the Yesod of Ima opens up at the chest of Zer Anpin. All of the Shefa that's inside the Yesod of Ima, all of that consciousness and Brachot, all of it now flows freely out into the rest of the body. It says Begilui, that's freely out, that's revealed. Umispashtim, and then after that they spread the Beis Shlishi Tiferes. Now I'm not sure what's going on here. If I must have done this just now, so let me kind of clean that up. But Shlishi to Tiferes Zah, he says that lower 2/3 of the Tiferes Zah is 37. Now what happened was that we took 63 that had to do with the upper part of Zer Anpin, and that made this name 63 right here. Here we're taking what's remainder, which is 37, which is the Milui of Sag. So it says here's Sag, and you notice here's the Milui, Vav Dalet. This is a Yud, Aleph Vav, there it is. Hey Yud, it comes out to be 37. So the first thing is that we delivered a 63 to the top, and then when it goes into Gilui, it looks like this. It looks like the Milui. So he says if you take the Milui, which is a Gematria 37, and you add it to the original Sag, you get the number Mea, 100. And that's what he says of the 9 assumption is Param Lamed Zaim Kamizbar Milui Sag Velaz, and that's 37. The Gematria Mea goes in the Gematria of 100. Now, then he says we also say the name Adni. Now, what's he has to say about this? So after you have this idea, now what's the idea? Let's just say the idea out without thinking through it too much. It says that when you're going to get ready to say the Brachos, you have the idea that you're going to bring down the name Sag. And then you're also going to bring it further down into a Gilui, and it's going to be the Milui of Sag. Now just tracking this, why it's the Milui, why it adds up like this, don't ask. Because this is what it is. It's more like what we're reading is a menu. It's a menu. So this is the menu right there. And the last thing we want to concentrate on right here in this spot is the name Adni. So he writes. Now once again, this is the Ashkenaz. This not Ashkenaz. Nusach Sefard. So Nusach Sefard, we're learning what's in it. He said, so now you have the idea, we're going to say Mea Brachos today. So we have to have the incorporation of the 100 Brachos, Mizer Anpin to Nuk, from Zer Anpin to the Nuk. Now we've filled Zer Anpin with this 37 plus 63. Sheba Shem Adni. So let's read it again. He said, we're going to give this to Malchus. Sheba Shem Adni. That in the Nuk is really the name Adni. That's the name of it. It's Gematria 65. For Aleph of Adni, Pitzir Yud Vav Yud, the Aleph could be like this. Yud at the top, a line like that, which we call a Vav, and another Yud at the bottom upside down. So he says Sheba Shem Adni. The Ha'aleph the Pitzir Yud Vav Yud, that's what we just pointed out. The Yud Sha'al Hanun, so you have a Yud on top of the Sha'al Hanun. There is a Yud on top of the Nun. You see that right there? I never saw that before. She says the Yud on top of the Sha'al Hanun. So he says this comes to Lamed Vav V'Samach Dalet. So I'm not sure he got like this. It comes to the 37 and 64. Mispara Mea Kamisbar Adni. Now we're going to look at it. I'm not sure that I understood this. What was my problem? I didn't read it all. The 34 letters, Milui Miluo. Okay, so we have to go after this again. Let's look at the other side because I didn't understand some of that, and so we're going to try to figure it out. So he says, Aleph Lamed Mem. We're spelling out the name Adni. So this is Aleph Lamed Mem. That's how you spell the word Aleph. Daled Lamed Tov. That's how you spell the word Daled. He says Nun Vav Nun. It's how you spell Nun. Yud Vav Daled, and it ends up with Yud Vav Daled again. Ima Kol Kamisper Kuf Adonin. It's the number of 100s Adons. Now my question is what did he do here? Why did he put the Yud up above? I didn't get it. So let's try it one more time. Let's read this again. So he has this idea. What did we start out saying? We have a kavanah that we want to bring out Mea Brachos. And so we say that the Sag, let me see if we get it up here, the name Sag, which is 63, and the Milui of Sag, which is 37, and 63 is 100. So we're trying to get the 100. This is your kavanah. It's a magic kavanah. What does it do? So let's go back here, and the final thing we want to look at is the name Adni. Now, Adni is 65 plus 10. I don't know what he's going to do that with that, so let's read it again. Let's see what he has. This is the third time. Rabbi Yaakov Hillel says that give it 3 shots. After that, keep moving. The blanks will be filled in someplace else. So now that we've got the 100, from Sag, and the Milu is Sag, which is Laz, the Hamshech Klalos Hamea Brachos, our idea now is to stream down the 100 Brachos. Bezer Anpin, the Nook. In the Nook is the name Adni. The Nook is Adni. Aleph B'tzir Yud Vav Yud. Now he says, let me show you how the Adni works. Now this is getting the Aleph, which we said before, I had no trouble there, is this Yud Vav Yud. That's the way you spell it. So why he did that, that's the number 26, incidentally. So he says, let's see if we could do something there. B'tzir Yud Vav Yud. V'yud Vav V'yud. Yeah, V'yud Sha'al HaNun. Then there's also a Yud on top of the Nun. So this is 26. And there's a Yud on top of the Nun. That makes 36. 36 and 64, which is, I'm not sure where 64 came from. Misparam Mea comes to 100 again. Kamispar, like the same name as Adni, 65, plus Dal, 34. That is the 34, I got it now, 34 letters of the Milui Imakolo. Makes 100. So if you count these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. So the 34 letters. Now, how he does this or what it actually does for you in terms of bringing the Mea Brachos And I guess the best I could say about it is, what is the Mea Brachos? So he says the name of Brachos is 63 plus 37 is 100. So it's the name Sad plus its Miloi, 37. It's the name of Adni, 65, plus its Miloi, which is 34. And they got this little dot up here. I don't know. Whoops. This Yud up here, I don't know what to do with it exactly. But there it is. Well, that's the shir for today. This is introduction to also RASHASH SIDDUR, but this is the one for Nusach Sefard, and actually it's the one that I use because I daven with Ashkenaz and fits in better than this Sephardi. But if I have a chance to learn to daven with Sephardim, I'll try the Brachot NAHAR, which I see quite a few people use when I would be, having been in Eretz Yisrael. It's a big deal with the Sephardim, much more so than the Ashkenaz. It's my hope that by doing this, we'll familiarize the Ashkenaz community that there are depths in the prayer that they may not be concentrating on. So this is Kavanas Netilas Yadayim B'Shachris. So the Kavana of Netilas Yadayim B'Shachris, that's coming up in the next year. This is your Saba speaking. Tikkun Elevator Kolo.